So this is an iSIGN media interview with Alex Romanov, and let's get started by asking for a brief background of iSIGN Media and what the company does.
And the company is a SaaS solution company, has a patent software that allows our hardware, which is a 10-ounce computer, weatherproof, waterproof, to identify mobile devices that come within range via Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and in full privacy be able to download a message to the device in proximity of a retail or enterprise commercial center.
And what are your primary solutions?
Primary solutions are basically two. One is that we do identify devices by their Bluetooth address and not by the MAC address, which is used by the telecoms to identify where the phone may be so they can bill from location to location. We simply identify the Bluetooth address and, of course, push a message to anyone's browser via Wi-Fi. And the second solution is that we have a comprehensive dashboard that would measure exact time that device enters into a proximity zone, measures exactly the device used, and then, of course, measures how many ads are being put out and which ads the device may accept, reject, or redeem. And all of this information is immediately fed back to the commercial enterprise so that they can readjust their promotions and maximize their return on investment. And it's all done, again, as I said earlier, in full privacy without any personal information of the shopper.
And how does the technology work?
Well, basically, again, the technology is using all rich media, so it can use text, audio, video, couponing. It is simply a flash-generated coupon that is sent to your phone, and it immediately prompts you to look at your screen and will ask you to opt in to accept or reject a message, depending on your choice that day. All messaging is done within proximity, so it's relevant. And once your phone has accepted the message, it is then downloaded to your media file, photo file, or any other cache that's available for receiving text and messaging on either iPhones, on Androids, Blackberries, etc.
And how many phones per day does the technology now reach?
Our general metric capture is approximately 2,000 phones per day in locations such as gas stations, convenience stores with gas stations, freestanding stores in any kind of an environment, strip mall, street address, or in a mall. So the average is about 2,000 phones per day, and that gives a fairly good audience for one specific antenna to be integrated with and interacting with.
What kind of growth rate do you anticipate in terms of phones reached?
Growth rate. In that case, if we have a network, for example, we now have 2,000 unit network being planned for installation into various gas stations and convenience stores. That particular network will be speaking and interacting with an average of about 4,000 phones, about 4 million phones per day. And that will provide a fairly reasonable audience for advertisers because they'll be able to message and receive instant data, getting a very good cross-section of different devices in different locations. And that can expand to our next step, which is a 10,000 unit network, which would be talking to approximately 40,000 40 million mobile devices per day, and that would make it the largest single network in North America.
What is the typical response rate for consumers?
Well, in the beginning, of course, it started in the low single digits, and as smartphones were introduced into the market, and Bluetooth availability increased to about 60%. Phones are always activated with Bluetooth. The average response now is approximately 10 to 30%, depending on the message.
And how large is the target market industry? For example, convenience store, gas station sector?
Well, the target market for convenience stores is fairly large. It's about $700 million. Gas station convenience stores, they get a lot of traffic, of course. The traffic is usually about 80% repetitive traffic in neighborhoods. People tend to fill up in the same station repeatedly. And so the audience is quite large in the convenience store chain. There are approximately 250,000 convenience stores available, and most of them have gas stations. So it is a fair-sized audience, and we have pursued this channel early because during a recession, people tend to shop more so in convenience stores, buying the necessities, and that's helped us to create our brand name and give us many metric results that we have used to promote to new customers.
What is the benefit for users?
The best benefit for a user is that if it's a commercial place that they're into, might be a mall, might be a strip mall, or they're pulling into a gas station. A good example at the gas station is when you pull in, your phone would suddenly light up and say, would you like a coupon offering 10 cents a gallon discount if you show the coupon to the cashier in the convenience store. So you can proceed to fill up at the pump. Perhaps you had no plan to go into the convenience store, but if you put in 20 gallons or 30 gallons of gas, it's $2 to $3 that you can go in and buy a refreshing beverage, or buy a treat, or buy something else, and the results to the consumer has been that over 30% of them participated in this kind of a promotion, and they averaged a purchase of about $6 inside the store. And the average gas station ended up selling approximately 8,000 gallons of fuel per month more than the same gas station not using our system. So to a consumer, it's spontaneous. It is a benefit. It's a great motive. It's a great incentive. And of course, there's some savings involved.
What kind of app is required?
Well, one of the benefits of our solution, the iSIGN Smart Antenna solution, is that we don't require any downloads or apps. Therefore, we are 100% private. If you use an app to pick up coupons and messages, you have to first download the app. You may have to buy it. One thing's for sure, you have to surrender your email address, and so it's not a private private communication. In our case, we do not require any kind of app or download, which makes our device truly very private.
How is not needing an app an advantage?
Well, again, I think I can repeat that not needing an app, there are two advantages. One, of course, is convenience. Second one is privacy. Not needing an app also increases the convenience because you're not spending time, for example, going into a fast food restaurant and having to stand there looking to download an app to get your coupon to save some money. That might take some time. You may not be able to receive the app, and at best, you're giving up personal information, your location, your personal information such as your email address to save some money and get a coupon. So it's most convenient not to use an app and just have a message pushed to your phone, and you simply take advantage of it immediately.
How is the smart antenna superior to beacons?
I guess the basic way to answer that one is that, again, a beacon must have an app downloaded first. A beacon is also short range. A beacon is battery powered. A beacon will only run about 2 to 3 months on that battery. Beacons do not work in cold weather. They're not weatherproof. Whereas our device is waterproof, weatherproof. It's a system that doesn't require app downloads, identifies all phones instantly, and pushes a message directly to the device and records and captures all of the data from the consumer using the device.
Why is a push system better value for companies deploying proximity marketing?
The push system, of course, is better because it's spontaneous. For example, most people go to a mall for a purpose. The basic purpose is, hey, let's go to a mall and see what's happening. Perhaps you have an intent to buy something, and you're going to get it at the mall, but most of your time in the mall is spent looking around, being attracted by something that may give you the motivation and the desire to purchase that. Now, by having a system in a mall and suddenly getting a spontaneous message on your phone that you can get 2 jeans for the price of 1, and you look up in the store 50 feet away, the chances of you responding to that message, that good incentive, is about 72%, as researched and based by our partner IBM.
Can you provide an overview of how the ad space agreement will unfold?
In the case of signing up various networks, we have discussions now with several gas stations, convenience stores, QSRs, quick service restaurants, as well as ATM companies. And all of these folks have locations that would serve the public very well with our devices there, because they could spontaneously put out messaging that can be changed every few minutes, and data is immediately received. And in the case of a network, for example, with an ATM network, there might be tens of thousands of ATM locations, which would integrate dispensing cash, dispensing messaging, advertising, and collecting data. That's a very important little tight circle to be happening in any commercial space.
Who are the partners in the agreement and what is their role?
In any kind of a network, partners can be the branded locations, might be a pizza chain, large pizza chain, and they would use our equipment to promote their product as well as an associated product. So it might be a pizza with a carbonated beverage combination. And these things are promoted on a regular basis. And of course, both partners would quickly realize in real time how well the associated promotion's doing. So it may be a partner that has a product which is sold with another product within a branded location, and that would require all three of them to work in tandem. And of course, the content would be provided by an ad agency, and there might be a reseller involved that would, of course, be selling space on a network to various brands, as they do for radio, television, etc. So the partnership could be quite wide. You'd have many participants, or it could be one brand in particular, a carbonated beverage that has many outlets. They would simply place our antennas in those outlets to promote their own product only.
And how are you approaching potential ATM vendors?
The potential ATM opportunity, of course, is important in that ATM's been around for about 30 years, and the public's very used to it. They know where it is. They ask for an ATM. They need cash. They want cash. So it's a perfect place to have one of our devices integrated with the ATM machine or in the same location as an ATM machine. And what this would do, of course, is be able to identify the number of people that mill around that particular environment, therefore giving an audience count to the ATM machine owners. It would give an audience count to any of the advertising that's being promoted by us. And they would also get a count on seeing how promotion of a coupon or a product generates more usage of the ATM machine. So in that situation, both devices, both partners would benefit greatly in being able to motivate and incentivize an audience within proximity of the ATM machine and generate more usage and purchases of both the product and usage of the ATM machine.
What sort of foot traffic is typical near an ATM?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Sure. What sort of foot traffic is typical near an ATM?
Yes. Well, obviously, ATM machines would be placed in the best possible locations where you have some very reliable, consistent traffic. In the case of convenience stores, restaurants, quick service restaurants, hotel lobbies, other commercial centers, I think you would want at least 30,000 customers per month, or 1,000 transactions and customers per month within the vicinity of an ATM machine. We tend to identify approximately 2,000 mobile devices per day. So I think that we would add additional traffic to the ATM operators and add additional convenience in that we can message a product to be purchased and also state that there's an ATM available to assist you in making that purchase. So there is a benefit there. And I believe that the minimum minimum transaction and customer activity daily would be approximately 1,000 to 2,000 customers per day.
Do you anticipate development of a contiguous network?
We have been rolling out networks for several years. One of the bigger ones was a 1,500 location network in Canada nationally, and that helped us to identify approximately 1 million phones per day. And that was a very good trial for us, which helped us to both improve the technology, improve our product, our hardware and software, where now we can not only message by Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, but we have hardware that can also manage 2 digital signs. So that makes it a real single source advertising wall or location that not only dispenses messaging to mobile phones within proximity, but can actually attract your eyes with videos and ads on digital signage as well. And so we are rolling that out and expanding our network wherever possible and integrating all of the locations to create one gigantic mobile network with the largest possible audience daily.
Do you envision the proximity network surpassing traditional broadcast network reach?
That's a wonderful plan. We would love that. And yeah, it is interesting. In over the last 5 years, mobile devices have surpassed both TVs available and both PCs available. So there are approximately 7.5 billion mobile phones in the world, which surpasses both PCs and TVs combined. So eventually, I do believe that a form of mobile messaging and advertising to mobile devices will become a world standard, as everybody, usually about 94% of the folks today, have a mobile device of some sort in their possession wherever they go. So yes, I think it's very possible that it could outshine and outpace advertising on TV, PC, and radio as well.
What advantages can you offer that broadcasters can't?
I guess the greatest advantage that we offer is that we can send a combination of rich media. Not all broadcasters can send audio, video, music, movies, and at the same time get instant response. In other words, what happened to that message we sent out? They would know instantly that it was looked at or rejected or downloaded or scanned and redeemed. Those are measurements that don't happen in any other medium in real time. But with our solution, messaging to a mobile device and immediately capturing the response, it happens instantly that your message goes out, is measured how many times it's been accepted, rejected, by how many devices, at what time of the day, and how much of it was redeemed. That is the advantage over regular broadcast mediums.
How do you handle security?
In the case of our Bluetooth Wi-Fi messaging, we have had a penetration certificate. We do not interfere with IT or other networks in any commercial space. We are simply a machine-to-machine messaging solution, that in the case of Bluetooth is messaging sent from device in Bluetooth format and received in Bluetooth format. All of it is obviously anonymous because we haven't got any personal information. And considering that we work on a small space, the greatest space being 300 feet, and it's done quickly, there has been no opportunity for anyone to want to hack into any one of these particular single locations. It would have very much difficulty entering the total network because that's protected by whatever standard is out there protecting people's networks. But we ourselves in our proximity network have never had a security breach. And we have received and managed millions of bits of data, and at 2,500 antennas in functioning in a network, we have collected as much as one terabyte of insights every 4 to 5 days, and have had no security issues.
How important is it to allay consumer concerns about privacy given the ATM connection?
Well, I believe it's very important. In the case of ATMs, they have their own methodology, but they must identify the consumer because you must insert a cash card, some kind of a credit card to reach your bank and be able to withdraw cash. In our case, we have no such need. The consumer does not identify anything to us, so we do not interact or interfere with the security of the ATM machine. We simply send messaging to a mobile device within proximity directly to the machine and not to the individual.
Can you describe test cases where this technology has been successfully deployed?
Yeah, our best examples are convenience stores. That's where we started, and that was a national network in Canada. As I said earlier, we were able to generate advertising for major brands, Fortune 500 companies. We were able to offer them the ability to not only measure audience, but reach out to audience and know exactly how much of the audience is participating. And they enjoyed up to 30-35% response rate, which is the highest you could possibly get. And you'd never get that from traditional broadcasting. And so that was a very successful campaign in the convenience store chain. It proved our reliability, functionality, and ability to advertise and collect data. We had a very successful campaign in New Orleans for the Super Bowl, where we promoted about 48 restaurants, and we were receiving a 38% response rate. And that was very, very attractive to Verizon, which immediately after that particular Super Bowl partnered with us and has been helping to promote our solution to their various clients. And we use their wireless solutions and wireless sticks to install our product in locations where they don't have direct wired connectivity, but want to use wireless. And then, of course, the gas stations were very successful in that gas stations that use their promotion, offering either food benefit or discounts for gallons of gas purchased, we're able to get a return on investment of about $25,000 to $30,000 per month because they were selling about 8,000 gallons per month based on our promotions. So those are three of the more successful ones that we've had.
How can companies use the data?
That is an interesting question. We are not big data unless you take a look at all of the data that we have collected in the cloud. But basically speaking, if a single company is using our machine, whether they have one or two stores and they're using one or two of our smart antennas, or whether they're using 1,000 or 2,000, what they get is an instant feedback on which store, at what time of the day, and where, what location is responding, is getting a demographic to respond to which of their advertisements. And this kind of data is very important because you can have the same store nationally, but you'll find that in one state, a particular product doesn't sell till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, gets a huge response. In another state, the same product starts early in the morning and sells throughout the day. So immediately, an enterprise can use this data to plan its inventory, plan its campaigns, to maximize the best possible interaction with their customers and maximize their profits.
What are some examples of projects completed in the past?
Well, the projects completed in the past, some are still running very successfully. One of these is the National Oil gas station chain, which is in Indiana, and I think some of it are also in Ohio. It's about 200 gas stations that have been using our products for about a year and a half now, and they're very successful in their ability to reach a consumer, promote a product, and get a response. And they're averaging a response anywhere from 20 to 30, 35% on any of their messaging. That's number one. We had a very successful trial at the Golden Pantry chain of Shell gas stations with convenience stores. And big brands such as Coca-Cola were promoted, Mars Bars, Swisher, and Kellogg's, and they all had a response rate of 10 to 26% in sales and participation, which is very high considering how it's done, where it's done, and certainly a lot less costlier than the traditional radio, TV, PC advertising.
And the last question, where do you see the technology being implemented in the future?
Where do we see the technology implemented in the future? That too is a good question. I believe that our technology can be beneficial, very beneficial in malls. And there are some very large malls worldwide. As an example, Westfield malls, about 90 malls in the world. They sell about $40 billion or more per year, get approximately 2 billion people going through the malls. And with approximately 100 of our antennas per mall, there would be almost guaranteed to have a 10 to 20% sales increase. That would take them from $40 billion to $44 to $48 billion in sales, and also give them a massive amount of data that they could feed back to the various brands and stores within those malls. So I see that as the next big step. It could become almost generic, where people would go to a mall and they know that immediately they're going to get a message that is either going to interest them or not. It's no different than looking at a store window. And because it's in proximity, they don't have to go searching for the store. They just have to look around, and it could be 50 feet away, it could be 20 feet away, or it could be a little further, but they will certainly see it, and they can act on it immediately. That's one way. The other is in transportation. I think on buses, cars, trains, anywhere, even planes, people could be allowed to use their Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. It's becoming the norm now. And our devices can be mounted on mobile vehicles. And therefore you can sit on a train or a plane and get information of the location you're going to, get information of various products that could be for sale where you are or where you're going. So I think moving into the mobile space is the next step. And I believe the third step might be something like a neighborhood. I think that real estate offices can use our product where people can pull up to a house and immediately look at their phone, and they would get a Bluetooth or Wi-Fi message offering them the opportunity to tour the home on their device. It would also give them perhaps an opportunity to feedback and say what they liked or don't like about the home. And the realtor can also say, if you like this particular home, perhaps you might be interested in these 3 or 4 other homes. So it could be a very convenient tool to shop for apartments, to shop for real estate, or even to consider going to a movie or a restaurant. So those would be the community applications we see as well.
Great. Well, those were all of the questions. Is there anything that you would like to add before we conclude the interview?
Yeah, I think I'd like to say that our product is got a patent. It took about 73 months to receive. It is in the United States, Canada, Malaysia, and we're also patenting in China. And we do have offices and resellers around the world. We're covered in South America, Central America, and Eastern Europe. We're covered in Canada and covered in Malaysia. And we started in Singapore, where we did extremely well about 7-8 years ago, because the Asians are much more advanced with their phones and took to getting messaging on their phones very quickly, enjoyed it, used it, and had no fear about privacy, had no fear about any other kind of issues that are still prevalent here in North America. But it is getting easier, and people are getting more comfortable as they realize that there is a way to get messages privately and without compromising where you've been that day and what you purchased and what you did. It's all fully private and fully anonymous.